On the command attention, gunners, stand erect, face forward, and stare just immediately in the distance.
Advance, sponge.
The command advance sponge is your command. When you hear that command, you step inside the wheel with your right front first, your right foot first. Face the muzzle, but you want to stand at an angle away from it so you're not completely in front of it. And then hold the sponge head just underneath the muzzle. Okay? So when he says advance sponge, do just like you did. You want to be a little bit more inside the wheel and just hold the sponge head right underneath the muzzle. It's a preparatory command. Okay, for just the purposes of this demonstration, we are going to assume that this sponge head is already damp. It's already been moistened, okay? So we don't have to worry about that.
10, vent.
The command 10 vent is your command. The vent is a hole at the breech of the gun, the back end of the gun on the top. And that hole, that vent, leads inside the bore, inside the gun. If this gun has already been fired, will it be hot? And if it's already been fired, could there be smoldering embers that remain in it? Okay, what happens if you take oxygen and let oxygen air get inside that vent, inside the gun, and flow over those smoldering embers? What will that cause? Potentially an explosion. And if she is inside the wheel and close to that muzzle, if she has that sponge rammer in that bore and it prematurely explodes, that gunner could lose her life or could lose part of her body, her limbs. So to take one of the elements that is needed for fire out of that equation, she is equipped with a leather sleeve. And on the command 10 vent, she does exactly what she did. 10 vent, steps inside the wheel and plugs that vent to prevent oxygen from getting in. And she remains in that position until this gunner is totally done with her job and steps outside the wheel.
Sponge piece.
Sponge piece is your command. So when you hear that command, you put the sponge in the bore. You drive it to the back end, to the breech of the gun. You give it 2 quick twists, pull it out, flip the sponge head over top, and now you hold the rammer in just underneath the gun. Okay. So now by sponging that gun, the gun has been cooled and those embers have been extinguished.
Handle, cartridge.
Okay, handle cartridge. Handle cartridge is your command. When you hear the captain yell handle cartridge, you run up here to this gunner real fast, okay? And you hand him the round of ammunition, okay? Hand that to him. Okay, you take it. Good job. Now you run back to your original position. This simulates a fixed round of ammunition. A bag of explosive black powder affixed to a round, a solid shot.
Charge piece.
Charge piece is your command, and immediately when you hear that, you step inside the wheel, put the round in the very front of the gun, that's good, and step outside the wheel. Good job. And he did that right. It's very easy, if you're not paying attention, to cause a misfire by putting this in backwards, round in first. And if that happens, that can cause a dangerous situation. The gun probably won't fire when or as you want it to, but it does still have the potential to fire. So he did that right. He put the black powder bag in first, followed by the round. And he stepped outside the wheel. Why do you want to step outside the wheel when you're done with your job? Because if it prematurely fires, it's going to recoil and jump in place, and if you're inside the wheel, you could more easily be injured by that.
Ram down, cartridge.
Our gunner now knows that that is also her command, so on the command ram down cartridge, she puts the rammer end in the bore and sends that round to the breech of the gun, pulls out the rammer, and her job is done, so she now steps outside the wheel. So that bag of black powder is now right underneath that vent, followed by the round that is in front of it.
Pick and prime.
The command pick and prime is this gunner's job. She is also equipped with a priming wire, a copper wire that is sharpened at one end. On the command pick and prime, she drives that priming wire down through the vent because she needs to break open that bag of explosive black powder so that it's exposed. She then pulls that priming wire out. You also need explosive in the vent to carry the flame from the top of the gun down to the main charge. So she is equipped with a small tube of black powder. She pours fresh black powder in the vent, and then her job is done and she steps outside the wheel.
Take aim.
Aiming is our captain's job. He moves to the side of the trail and sights the gun between the breech and the muzzle, and when he's satisfied with his sighting, he raises his left arm and moves back to his original position. Keep your arm raised. During a battle, the gun detachment probably won't be able to hear the command to fire. So the sight command, when he yells fire, he also lowers his arm. And that lets this gunner know that it's time to fire the gun. As a matter of fact, this detachment will be so well trained that all of the individual commands will not be given. Probably gunners, perhaps at your post at the beginning, load, they'll go through all the procedures, the type of round to be fired, and then fire. Those will be all the commands. They will be so well trained that they will work off of each other's movement. This gunner is equipped with a lens stock, a wooden pole with a hemp rope at the top. That rope is soaked in a chemical compound that will retain a burn, a slow burn about the rate of a match. So when he yells fire and lowers his left arm, okay, from outside the wheel, you want to stand outside the wheel, and then what do? That's right. He touches that to the vent, and what does that do? That ignites the charge and fires the gun.
Fire.
Your job, when he does that, is to yell boom as loud as you can, because we want to give him a sense of realism here. Okay.